Welcome back to the Lemmings Hall of Fame level solving commentary video series, and we finish up the rest of the silver rank here. So, first up, Silver 21, Can You Feel the Lambs Tonight by Elton John. Yes, I love this song by Elton John. And can you feel the love tonight? It is where we are. Yeah, and for the record, I love all things The Lion King. I love it so much that I've seen it in multiple formats, including in 3D and also the Broadway musical version. Oh yes, and I even seen the live action film as well. Although, no. For me, it will always be the original over that. Yeah, the live action just doesn't have the same feel to the original The Lion King that I knew and grew up with. And the 3D version, yeah, it was much better than I expected it to be. So it's definitely worth a watch. Yeah, but I'm not sure if it's playing anywhere in the world right now though. But anyway, yeah, for this level, I consider this one the hardest levels of the rank. Yeah, this one certainly took me quite a while before I got it solved. Because I think plenty of my problems just come from like being like a permanent skill short or something like that. Maybe even a shimmier as well. But anyway, here, what do I do? Okay, so first Lemming that goes back to the left at the top will become a climber. And then he will shimmy to get up here. Okay, bash on through. Platform up the gap here. Yeah, and I did it in such a way so that he does not turn around, because otherwise he's just going to fall back into the pit with the others. Okay, jump over the exit. Shimmy to get over there to the other side. And I should make sure here, because some skill assignments came in the meantime. Yeah, so he gets a floater. And yeah, it looks like I send nearly everyone up as climbers in the top entrance, in the top group. Yeah, and then I just make them shimmy to get out of the pit. No, so I just let him stay put, I think. Okay, bash on through the vases here. Yeah, and I think the rest of these guys just become swimmers. Okay, now I bash on through here. Okay, yeah, so in the meantime, another one becomes a climber here. Yeah, that's the last of the climbers. And then these guys become swimmers. So this guy would just shimmy now. And then bash on through the Sphinx. Yeah, I think the biggest problem just comes from the fact that you have varying amounts of the permanent skills. So that can like lead into plenty of problems as to how they should be distributed. Okay, and then here I get a worker from the bottom group by making them jump across over the wall. Okay, and then I go ahead and build over the trap trigger here. Okay, and then it takes all 3 platformers for the water gap down here, or rather the remaining 3. Then release the crowd by bashing through the wall, and that's it. So yeah, luckily for me, the basher stops. He doesn't keep on going and also cut the staircase as well. Okay, and then these guys would just go through the structure on the far right side to get to the exit. So I have 4 shimmiers left over here. Quite honestly, I'm not certain what they're for. Yeah, it's still a pretty nice level though, but again, in my opinion, it's definitely one of the hardest. Yeah, I certainly had a lot of problems before I finally got it solved. Silver 22, Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite by the Beatles. For the benefit of Mr. Kai, there will be a show tonight on trampoline. Yeah, it's one of the more obscure songs by the Beatles, but I do know it. Yeah, I've also heard it. It's also heard in the film Across the Universe. Yeah, which is pretty much a movie where all the songs are by the Beatles. So essentially, you can think of it as like covers of Beatles songs. I haven't seen the movie in quite a while though, so I have pretty much forgotten what it's all about. I think it's just about somebody who goes to like war or something. Yeah, to like the Vietnam War or something. Yeah, maybe. So the first two become gliders. Third one was stone. Yeah, so crowd is contained at the top. So both of them jump to get on here. And then jump again. And then jump again. Okay, now we get over here with the two workers. And then, yeah, here I use a shimmier jump, and then I bomb. So no, I don't get him into the water there. Oh yes, I had to wait for him to turn around. Otherwise he'll just swim and get on to here and then walk into the trap. So he becomes a swimmer. Yeah, now I jump into the water. Okay, and also make him climb. And then once he's high enough, I go ahead and make him jump. And then jump to use the structure to turn around. Okay, platform. And then build the rest of the way. Yeah, to seal off the gap. Okay, bash on through the one-way wall. Okay, and then build. Yeah, we need to, both builders so that he turns around. And then finally, release the crowd by bashing. So plenty of skills left over here. Jumper, climber, swimmer, glider, and stoner. So, that would make me think that it's like a bit of a background, but I think I remember backgrounding it, yeah, in pre-testing as well. But you know, honestly, it's been quite a while, so I can't quite remember now. But it seems to be acceptable here, yeah, even with those leftover skills I have. Still, pretty good level. Silver 23, Hammer. No, Bloodbound by Hammerfall. Yeah, I don't know who that is, and I don't know the song either. Okay, so pretty wide assortment of skills here. Walker, 3 shimmiers, 2 climbers, 1 swimmer, 1 glider, 2 stoners, 6 builders, 3 stackers, 1 basher, and 2 miners. So I stack with the first lemming. Yeah, 1 lemming steps on by and he becomes a climber. Hang on. Yeah, he becomes a climber. And then I set up another climber as well. Okay. So we stack twice, yeah, in order to get up here. And now we can shimmy. Yeah, same thing with the other climber. We make him shimmy as well. And then we have this climber, or rather shimmier, drop for like a pixel or so, and then stone. So this makes it low enough for the other shimmier to hoist himself up on. And then here, I turn him around with a walker, and then I use a shimmier jump to get over the top. Yeah, he's not blocked by the terrain there, so he's able to make the shimmier jump. Okay, and then he gets a swimmer skill. And then because the exit trigger is buried, he can go over the exit while exiting. And yeah, this is a high enough wall to turn him around. And then we go ahead and mine. And then we bash on through. And yeah, this is low enough to keep the basher going. It's like pretty much the minimum amount of pixels, I believe. Yeah, that you are able to bash on through. Yeah, and this also releases the crowd, and he stops due to the steel. Yeah, and now the rest of it is just building to get up to the exit, and then also uncovering the exit trigger. So just build once, and then just let the crowd take a round. Yeah, and then build with the last lemming. Yeah, and I build a bit further back than the front edge of the staircase. Okay, and then I just continue building up. And then after 2 builder staircases, I go ahead and stone. Yeah, that makes a turnaround point. Yeah, and then I have a climber. Yeah, that's the climber who bashed to release the crowd. Yeah, from the other side. And then we just go ahead and mine to uncover the exit. Yep, and now all that's left to do is to build one last time. And now we are home scot-free to the exit. So, have a guard left over, but it should be acceptable here. And a pretty nice level at that too. Yeah, the hardest part is just figuring out how to get the workers over the top. Or get a worker over the top, I should say, since there was only one. Yeah, at least in my solution. Silver 24, When the Night Comes by Joe Cocker and Brian Adams. I recognize these singers, but I do not know this song. Didn't even know they had a collab. Okay, I believe this one had a pretty bad background in pre-testing. Yeah, but it should now be more or less solid here. So we start with a 99 release rate. Okay, and I jump with the second lemming here. And yeah, they just fall into this tiny gap here, where we're gonna go ahead and stone so that the others survive and are contained in the pit. And this is just level with the terrain and the steel. Then I go ahead and dig here. Okay, build over the gap. Okay, and then platform across the gap. Yeah, this just reaches the other side. Okay, and then we platform again. Okay, and then platform, and then finally release the crowd by mining. So 9 jumpers, 2 shimmiers, and 3 bashers left over. So it's probably somewhat still of a background, but it's definitely more acceptable than it was before. Yeah, from what I remember. Silver 25, The Mad Piper by Civil War. Yeah, don't know who that is and don't know the song either. Alright. I don't think this was back routed. But again, it's been quite a while, so I don't quite remember everything. Okay, so we stone here. And then the second one will shimmy once he walks forward like a pixel or so. And then I stone with the next lemming. Yeah, so pretty much in the same manner as the previous low. Yeah, they are now contained between these terrain on either side here. Okay, bash on through. Okay, he stops due to the steel. And also turns around. And then we go ahead and build to the one-way wall. Okay, and now we bash to release the crowd. Yeah, and again, the basher will keep on going, and then he'll stop due to the steel here. Okay, and then we're just going to go ahead and use the structure to get up. Okay, and now the crowd is contained in here. Okay, and then I release or isolate a worker by making him jump over the fold. The flag fold, and then go ahead and build to get to the cloud. Yeah, which is solid terrain. Okay, and then build to get over the gap here. Okay, fence on through. Okay, and then finally all that's left to do is to fence through the flag folds, and that's it. So a jumper and a builder left over here. So not as many skills as I had in the previous low. So certainly like a far more acceptable solution, I would think here. Silver 26, Counting Stars, One Republic. Yeah, I know the song of theirs. Lately I've been losing sleep, dreaming about the things that we could be. And in general, I also like the band One Republic as well. Yeah, I think they first became well known, yeah, for their song Apologize. Okay, I think this one had a bad backward before as well, where I think before it might have been possible to just simply build to get over the top here. Although it's possible that I might be confusing with another level though. But anyway, I go ahead and stone. And then stone again. Okay, and then stack here. And then also make the third lemming that comes out, yeah, after these two shimmy. And then the next one shimmies as well. And then the next one as well. So the first one will stone after dropping for a pixel. And then this one will jump. And then stone. And so he hits the wall, turns around, and then falls for a pixel, and then stone. Yeah, this is how the next one that jumps is able to hoist himself up on top of the stoner. Yeah, maybe it will help if I zoom out a bit here. So the one at the top will be a climber. The one at the bottom will platform. Okay, same thing here, platform across the fire trap here. At the bottom it takes two platformers. Okay, and this guy will stay put. Yeah, he's contained between the stack and the one-way wall over here. Yeah, while the crowd is contained between these stack and the terrain over here. Okay, and then shimmy to get over the exit. Okay, and then he also becomes a glider, so that he will repeatedly bounce between the a floater, sorry. But yeah, he does get triggered by the one-way force view, so that he goes to the left. I think before it might have been a glider, but yeah, now it's a floater, I think. Shimmy again. Yeah, so now we're on the other side, and then we go ahead and stack. Yeah, this is to stop the crowd from going out to the right here. Yeah, where they will fall down a spot. And we do the same thing here. Yeah, prepare a stack so that they would turn around later on. Yeah, the crowd is. So this is a floater path. Okay, mind you the one-way wall. Yeah, this is just low enough to get the others up. Okay, and then we go ahead and prepare another stack now. And then we go ahead and platform the other way. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and build up. Okay, after 3 builders, I go ahead and platform. Okay, and then I go ahead and fence. Okay, and then stop him mid-stroke. Yeah, by making him jump. Okay, fence on through, and then go ahead and interrupt him with a jumper. Yeah, so now they'll be able to step up to the ceiling. And then finally, release the crowd by fencing through the stack. Okay, stack up against the stack so that he turns around. And then when he starts climbing, I go ahead and make him jump so that he goes out the other way, and that's it. So this saves 1 over requirement here, and also 2 climbers, a stoner, and a stoner left over. So it can be somewhat challenging, yeah, especially with figuring out how to get over the top here. But you do have the necessary skills, and also just keep in fact that you can assign a stoner 2 followers. Silver 27, Go With The Flow by Queens of the Stone Age. This was one of the new levels that was sent while the pack was in pre-testing, and I believe it was in like the it used to be in like the first half of the silver rank, I think. But I gave Strato the feedback that it is way too difficult. You have to be in the first half of the silver rank. And so now it's near the end of the rank, as you can see here. Yeah, and it's definitely a better position, in my opinion. Or a better position now, in my opinion. I go ahead and max out the release rate at the start. And it seems that I had 2 solutions as well. Yeah, so I go ahead and make the first one jump to get over the wall. Okay, he becomes a glider after falling for a bit. And then go ahead and platform up the water gap. Okay, and then build. Twice. So I think the the biggest issue that I had here was whether you need to bash through the one-way wall or simply go over it. I think I might have went through it in the second solution, but something tells me that I didn't though. But what else did I do here? I bash to release the crowd now. Okay, and then platform to get over the water gap here. Or to get over the water. And yeah, this is just barely a safe fall, but it is safe. Just depends on where you platform. Yeah, so I think this was just a matter of timing that I did here. Okay, and then dig down the leaf here. Okay, and then build to get over the water. And yeah, the evil eye strap at the Lemmings 2 cave tile set. Yeah, it's definitely much better. Yeah, now that there's a secondary animation, since it makes the trap easier to stand out. Yeah, but only after every few seconds it does this animation here. Yeah, so that it deviates from the standard look. But before we had the animation, yeah, it's definitely difficult to tell. Yeah, where the traps are. Yeah, against the black background graphic set. But yeah, once the builder is finished, then I go ahead and make him shimmy. And then again, this is another safe fall. And yeah, this was why I bash in a certain way. So if I go back to that. Yeah, so I bash near the tail end of the crowd here. So this gives him enough of a distance. Yeah, ahead of the others. Okay, go ahead and dig here. So now he has more than enough time to dig so that nobody slips by the digger. Okay, he stops due to the steel. And then, yeah, we get over all these evil eye straps. And then make him a slider, the shimmier. And yeah, he goes out the other way due to these drops. Then we go ahead and stack. Okay, he turns around. And then we go ahead and platform. Yeah, at a spot so that he does not go out the other way later on. Yeah, because he does not become a faller. Okay, and then go ahead and release the crowd by bashing. Yeah, and this just barely reaches, but due to being glider, he does. Okay, and then finally shoot a laser through the one-way wall so that the crowd can get down, and they will fall before the wall here. Oops. Yeah, I meant to activate CPM here again. So yeah, just underneath the trap there. But let me go ahead and show you what happens when they fall down here to get to the exit. So yeah, like that. And then because of the wall, they turn around and then go towards the exit. Okay, where's for the second solution? Yeah, I am wondering what that is. So max out the release rate as usual. Yeah, and then jump over, glide, and then platform. Okay, and then build twice. Okay, yeah, so I just go over the one-way wall. Although I think there are solutions that go through the one-way wall though. And then, yeah, I pretty much bash near the tail end again. Okay, and then platform. Yeah, the solution just seems to be mostly the same as the first one I already showed. Okay, so everything's the same so far. Okay, so the only difference is that I platform up here instead. Yeah, and luckily he lands on here again, despite being a glider, so that I'm able to stack here instead to make a turnaround point. Okay, and I release the crowd a lot later. Shoot a laser, and then bash shot to get on through. Yep, so that's it. So rather than the crowd falling down here to get over, yeah, they get across on top over here. So yeah, that's pretty much the only difference. I just swapped the stacker and the platformer. So jumper, shimmier, and a basher left over. So yeah, I don't think my original solution was a back row, but rather, again, it's like I said, it was, in my opinion, where it was before, it was too difficult for its position, and so that's why it's near the end of the rank now. Silver 28. Thus spoke Zarathustra, Richard Strauss. Don't know who that is, and I don't know this song either. I think this might have been another level that was with the experimental neo skills. Yeah, where we were still deciding what skills to add for the final ones for neo Lemmings. Yeah, which yeah, for which the spear and the grenader did not make the cut. But again, I could be wrong about that though. With this one, using those experimental skills that Nibita decided not to add to neo Lemmings in the end. Okay, jump with the first Lemming, and then he becomes a slider. And then we're gonna go ahead and shimmy. Okay, and then shimmy again. And then he also gets a swimmer. Okay, and then I also shoot a laser. Okay, the slider goes out the other way now. And then we go ahead and shoot a laser in the other direction. And then at this time, I go ahead and pop him up the gap. Yeah, and this also has one Lemming slip on by here, where I make him a shimmy so that he can get the basher pickup. Okay, shoot a laser, and then stop the laser with a shimmier. So now he gets up here. Doesn't quite get the jumper pickup here. Okay, let him turn around to pop him out the gap. Now he collects the jumper pickup. Okay, bash on through the 1-way wall. After swimmer, jump, and then shimmy. And that's already it. So have a slider left over here. And I am actually curious as to the... Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. If he walks in, he wouldn't get the basher pickup at all. So I'm just gonna reload the replay here and then just skip all the way to the end. Yeah, so just a slider left over and a pretty nice level here. Might have been in background before as well, but again, I can't remember. Yeah, it's been a long time. Yeah. Silver 29. The gang's all here by Dropkick Murphys. Don't know who they are and don't know the song either. Yeah, this one did have a very bad background. I think it might have went through a couple of patches here, as a matter of fact. Yeah, during pre-testing. But it should now be more or less properly patched. First one becomes a climber. Okay, jump to get over the tree here. Okay, dig down so that this becomes a safe fall for him. Yeah, he stops due to the steal. And then I go ahead and stack against the fold of the flag so that he turns around. Bash on through here. Okay, platform and then jump. And then jump to get over the exit. Platform. Twice. Yeah, and this just reaches the entire gap with 2 platformers. And then finally release the crowd by making him, by bombing someone in the crowd. And then stack against the up steal so that the climber turns around. And that's it. Did I have another solution here? No, I did not. Okay. So Walker and a shimmier left over here. Although, if I wanted to, I could just turn him around with the Walker rather than stack. Yeah, the climber does. Alrighty, and finally, silver 30. Them those thirds did not. Yeah, I know I butchered that. Helene Fescher. Yeah, don't know who she is, and I do not know the song. It does look like it might be German or something, but I could be wrong on the language as well. Yeah, for the level title. So we finish off the second rank with a L2 Shadow level. Yeah, and this time I think it's purely just L2 Shadow because the previous rank finisher was a mix of both L2 Shadow and L2 Beach. Okay, platform up the gap here. The one that slips on by would become a climber. Yeah, and then I go ahead and delay the next Lemming behind the platformer with 2 shimmiers so that he does not fall into the gap. Because if he does, then it's pretty much impossible to rescue him later. And then once the climber's high enough, I go ahead and make him jump so that he climbs up this wall. And then once high enough, go ahead and make him jump again. So now he goes over the top. Okay, shimmy to get to the other side here. Okay, jump over the gap here. Yeah, this is all background. So yeah, the L2 Shadow is a really, really big mess. Yeah, especially from Lemmings 2. Yeah, I think most of the things here, yeah, those that were background now became solid, or vice versa, I think. Well, maybe not vice versa, but like, rather, some of the things that were background remain background, but some of them it was decided to make them solid instead. Yeah, these have animations to let you know that these trees are background. And then go ahead and build over the gap here. And then climb up. Okay, platform up the gap here. Yeah, make sure he doesn't turn around. Okay, and then mine to release the crowd. Yep, and that's already it. So, a climber, a swimmer, and 2 bashers left over. Yeah, and he'll be fine because the hydrant is solid here. So, I don't remember if this was background. It might not have been, though. I think it might have been fine from the start. Alrighty, so with the completion of the silver rank, that brings us to the third and penultimate rank, which is gold. So this we will start the next time. So with this, hope you enjoyed the video of the Lemmings Hall of Fame level 7 commentary, and I'll see you all next time.